All right. So Joe, I appreciate you hopping on here. Appreciate you hopping on to, talk a little bit more about my services and what I was able to do for you in the time that we worked together. Just for anyone who's watching this is Joe Rose, CEO over at Microestimating. I'll let him sort of introduce himself and his business and just kind of talk a little bit more about what type of company they are.
Yeah. So over at Microestimating, we have a software product providing estimation services, estimation calculations, cycle time calculations for machine shops and fabricators and screw machines and kind of anything with metal. And so that was kind of our offering is being able to sell this software to any machine shops that are looking to improve their estimating.
Gotcha. So let's, I guess, start from the beginning. When we first met, really, what were you guys doing before to get new leads in the door, generate, interest, generate demand, and get people to book demos on your calendar?
Before, we were not doing a whole lot. We were doing a little bit of cold email, and otherwise relying on our website that had a pretty long SEO presence.
Hmm.
But otherwise, it was not a whole lot of outreach. And with that kind of outreach, we had, I don't know, maybe two or three people who would kind of reach out to us just via email.
Got
Yeah, so not a whole lot going on.
And I guess on the sort of cold email front that you guys were doing before, do you have any numbers that you could pinpoint on sort of the results that you were getting from that versus, and we can talk a little bit more about the numbers that we were able to produce for you later on, but do you have any sort of a quantifiable data point on what the cold email stuff was doing for you guys before?
No, I'd have to go look it up. My gut feeling was with all the ones we sent out, we got maybe one more person a month.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So you're probably, if you did it for a year, probably 12 to 15 interested.
Yeah, something like that in addition to what we were already kind of getting just based on
Sure.
our
Inbound.
website.
Gotcha. So when you brought me on to sort of build a prospecting team and start to revamp the sales development side of your business, what, what real problem were you trying to solve? And what were you trying to, I guess, what frustrations were you trying to get rid of by building an inside sales development team?
I think our biggest thing was just to get new sales going. The company had kind of been put on pause during COVID and then kind of had a lot of stagnation going on. So that we were trying to rebuild the sales team, get people who could get in there and get a lot more deals moving, at least even get us visible and then get these deals closed.
Gotcha. I guess why use a third party service to do something like this or go with a contracted service rather than hire an SDR team, a head of SDRs and sales development team internally.
I think our biggest thing is we usually try and start with some external contractors.
Hmm.
Usually, if we have to take on all the overhead of building up our own sales team, kind of to get everything off the ground, it's a huge capital expenditure compared to kind of being able to lease a sales team
Yep.
for a couple months, a couple quarters. That provides much more benefit for us. And then it was always with the long term goal that if it is we could get enough sales coming through, that we'd be able to stand up an internal team to kind of replace them or hire them in if that's a possibility.
Gotcha. And Joe, I know before we hopped on here, we were kind of going through some of the stats of my time working with you guys. Would you mind sharing your screen for the audience here, and we can just show them some of the results of the campaigns that we worked on together? Helpful to start first with Apollo, and we can just go through some of the sales development numbers, and then we can take a quick dive into total deals generated.
Yeah, let me see here. Mhm. Share screen. There we go.
So as you guys can see here, just over the period of us working together, which we started prospecting in about February, really hit it hard February, March, April, some of May. Then our prospecting our efforts sort of tiered off after May, and our contract ended after about 6 months total. But you can see in that period of really heavy prospecting and the total time of us working together, we were able to the team that I had brought on was able to make 4,900 calls, book 61 demos, 22 discovery calls. And overall, I'll have a paper at the end of this that gets more into the statistics of, the total dials we made, total connects we had, total demos that resulted from those connects. So you can sort of visualize what it might look like inside of your company. But for microestimating in particular, over really a period of about 4 months, 3.5 months of hard prospecting, we put about 60 demos on the calendar and 22 discovery calls, of which a portion converted to demos as well. And then Joe, if you want to hop over to HubSpot, we can talk about just overall deal volume. So that resulted in roughly 85 new opportunities being created in HubSpot, of which the pipeline value that we calculated was about $1.6 million over that period of time that we worked together. So just some numbers for you guys to sort of conceptualize some of the results. Joe, would you like to speak to sort of any of this, or just what parts of working together that you found the most valuable? What areas you think other businesses might have success in working with us?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was especially the outreach, being able to get a lot more people in the door, get a lot more eyeballs on our products, be able to get, yeah, just people kind of even taking a look at us compared to disappearing like we kind of were doing. So being able to reach out, I think the hardest thing for us was the cold outreach.
Mm.
It, as you can see from all the numbers, that they had quite a bit of success in being able to do this with people who were trying to run a factory instead of wanting to jump on a call and see some new shiny software. But yeah, I think that was kind of our biggest thing, is being able to get out there and get connected. And if nothing else, we're in a lot of people's minds that hopefully they'll come back to us when it is they're ready to make the move.
Absolutely. Joe, how likely would you say you would be to recommend myself and my teams, or a team that I would build for a company, to someone who's looking to build a sales development function for their company?
Yeah, I would say very likely to recommend. It was definitely a huge help being able to get that stood up. I think it took you, what, 4 weeks to get your team stood up and trained, something like that. Had them calling by the end of the month. And then we started seeing, I think the first demos booked maybe 2 more weeks after that, maybe even less than that. Started to get some bookings coming through. And then you guys got full steam in what, 2 months?
Yeah, we were really cooking. I think in the first, yeah, I think it was like the third week, I started like going, heavy into the recruiting, made them their offers. Fourth week, brought them on, kind of went through training. That first week they're on board, took them through the ramping program. And then after that, yeah, we were off to the races. I think in the first week, which was just 3 days of calling, we booked 8 demos just in that first week, and really started to hit the ground running after that. So it was great working with you guys. I really enjoyed it. It was a fun project, and we wish you guys the best of luck long term, obviously.
Yeah. I wish you all the best in building future teams.
Awesome. Thanks, Joe. I appreciate it.
Thanks.